Hey everyone, this is Darius from self-archeology.com. I hope you're all well. Today I would like to talk to you about chronic anxiety and overthinking. And in my professional experience and in my personal experience and in my observations, it seems that a lot of people have that problem. A lot of people think about certain things and they have obsessive, very irritating thoughts, and then that leads to a certain emotional state, and that leads to certain behaviors that are not necessarily healthy or efficient. So, an interesting fact of human psychology and physiology is that a certain part of our brain doesn't differentiate between what is real and what is not real, what is a fantasy, what is reality. That part doesn't understand time very much, so if something happened in the past, you might react a certain way as if this is happening right now. So all of this impacts how you feel and what you think. So for example, you can imagine eating a tasty meal. So you can close your eyes and just imagine a freshly made steak or a bowl of salad or a dessert. And after a while, your mouth starts salivating because a certain part of your brain doesn't understand that this is not actually happening. And therefore your physiological reaction is as if there's an actual meal in front of you. Your mouth is preparing to eat that meal. So in regards to anxiety and overthinking, if a person thinks about something for a long amount of time, I have another video on that, but just to summarize, if a person thinks about something for a long amount of time, it becomes real to them and their reactions become as if this is actually happening. So let's take a very common example. A lot of people are afraid of talking to other people. They're worried what the other person might think of you, or that they might reject you, or that they dislike you, or that they think that you're stupid, and all these things. So you might want to talk to somebody, and then the thought is, maybe they will dislike me. Maybe they will dislike me. It becomes a cycle. Maybe they will dislike me. This thought becomes obsessive, and after a while, maybe they will dislike me transforms into they will dislike me. Maybe gets lost somewhere, meaning that maybe before, even unconsciously, or perhaps unconsciously at least, you had a perspective that maybe, implying that there are other possibilities, but after a while, after thinking about it for too long, those go into your peripheral vision, so to speak, and your vision becomes kind of like a tunnel vision, and you see only that one scenario. So you lose the maybe, you lose the perspective, and you concentrate on this one horrible scenario that this person will dislike me. And then if you think about it for a long amount of time, this becomes very real, and you will feel certain emotions. You might feel hurt or scared or anxious or sad or lonely. And then this might lead to certain actions. Maybe you will talk to them, but you will be kind of aggressive or shielded, protective, closed in. You would be afraid to open up or be vulnerable. Or you might not even talk to them at all because it's too scary, it's too anxious. What's the point? They will reject me. And the other scenario is, the other point that I wanted to make, this is the first point, the second one is that in that person's mind, if that horrible scenario happens, then something horrible will happen, like the consequences are unbearable. And therefore, I have to prepare for that, I have to somehow solve it, and that's what anxiety is. A person perceives a problem. It might be actually a perceived problem, or it might be a real problem. But either way, if a person has a problem, They feel anxiety because they want to solve it in their mind. This is so important that I can't relax. This is a priority, so I have to somehow solve it. But oftentimes the problem is that a person doesn't quite understand the actual root of that problem. So in this case, probably the person is afraid of other people or overly worried about other people because in the past that was very natural, because they grew up in an environment where people were not very nice. Maybe they have abused you, maybe they rejected you, neglected you, and if that's how you felt for a long amount of time, that's your reaction. That's a learned behavior, a learned response to a certain stimulus. So in your past, it made sense, but now it doesn't. It actually hinders your progress. But again, a certain part of our brain doesn't understand past and present, and also a part of your brain or your psyche is trying to protect you from what happened before. So if before you talked to people and they acted in a way that you felt scared or worried or anxious or hurt, then that's how you feel. The problem is that now you're an adult and this perspective is lost in that moment. And a lot of people don't quite see it that way. So what can help? Also, 2 points that I want to address. One, being more realistic, having a broader, more realistic perspective that, again, maybe there are other scenarios. Maybe I will talk to that person and maybe they will reject me. Like maybe I have a business proposal, or maybe I want to ask them for a coffee, or maybe I just want to be friends with them, or maybe I want to go for a jog together, or maybe I just want to ask them what time it is. I might not get what I want, but there's other possibilities too. So it's not just they will reject me, I will die, or something horrible will happen, but there's other outcomes. So try to be realistic. And the second one, it's also being realistic, but kind of differently. So the second point is that be realistic, but in a sense that trust yourself, that now you're an adult, reassure yourself that you are an adult, you have resources, you have skills, you can deal with those problems. Even if the worst case scenario happens, this person may not like you, or you will try to do something and you will fail, quote unquote fail, something will happen, you won't achieve what you want to achieve. Even then, you will be okay. You can deal with it. You're not a child anymore, you can deal with it. And that's an interesting perspective. That's a very helpful perspective to have, especially when you feel really anxious, because then you feel insecure. So when you feel more safety, by reassuring yourself, by giving yourself a more objective, more realistic perspective, you increase your sense of safety and security, and therefore the anxiety, the insecurity goes down. And that's what's important to remember in those moments where you have obsessive thoughts. And of course, what fundamentally helps is to work on yourself and trying to figure out what is actually going on, why you feel this way, and solving that. But in the meantime, a few more practical examples are these ones that I just gave. So try to keep that in mind. Be more realistic, see other outcomes, and to trust yourself that you will be okay, that you don't have to imagine every possible and impossible problem and then to try to solve it somehow. It's not very practical, it's not necessary, that you will be okay, that you can take a chance and do what you want to do and then deal with the consequences. So I hope that was helpful. If you want, you can share this video, you can subscribe if you want to see more videos. You can follow us on Facebook. You can send me a message, give me some feedback, and hopefully you're having a good day. See you in the future. Bye.